What up, everyone? It's your boy Soju here on behalf of the Straight Chillin' Podcast, where we do weekly horror movie reviews. Today, I'm doing another video game review, this time for the Borderlands Remaster that came out earlier in this year, 2019. To start things off, I would like to say that I would recommend playing through this game. It's a really fun co-op first-person shooter, if that's something you're interested in. But I will say that the main game isn't particularly horror-related, but it does have some added-on content that is horror-related that I'll talk about later in my review. This is definitely not a game for kids though. It is rated mature, it's got a lot of gore, it's got a lot of profanity, so definitely not good for kids getting into the horror genre. But before we get too far into it, let's go ahead and drop that spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning.
So absolutely, one of the biggest positives for me about Borderlands is the co-op mode. I first started playing this game with 3 other buddies. It offers 4-person co-op, and it also offers 4 different distinct characters that you can play through, each with their own distinct action skill and skill trees that you build up. And so while I have a ton of fun playing this game with friends, I also enjoy playing this game solo as well, and I have played through this game whether with friends or solo, with each character several times to build those kind of characters up. So while the co-op is a big positive for me, it's not absolutely necessary, but it is a lot of fun playing through this game with a bunch of buddies. The enemies, they scale up depending on how many people are in your party, and then the loot that you get, like the guns and stuff like that, kind of scale up as well depending on how many people are in your party, and it definitely gets tougher and stuff like that. So it's fun either way, but I definitely recommend the co-op mode if you have some buddies to play with you. The character types feel distinct enough to me. There's only 4. There's no any kind of like DLC characters, but like I said, I have played through several times with each characters, and to kind of build off of that, the lore that they build around with these characters and with the story as they're going through this planet Pandora is really cool. I feel like maybe it pays off a little bit more in later entries like Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, and then maybe the Borderlands 3 that's upcoming. But I feel like they do a really good job of laying the foundation in this game to kind of build off of that later. This game is actually surprisingly like really gory, but not in the type of way. It's kind of almost, this game in general is like a black humor. It's like really dark in some of its content that it deals with, but at the same time, it kind of just takes everything really lightly. So I mean, you can kill people, their heads explode when you get crit hits and stuff like that, or you see people when they die, sometimes like their just body limbs go flying and blood goes nowhere, and it kind of reminds me, I guess, of like old school like Mortal Kombat, where people thought that was so gory because of the blood that popped out and everything like that, but at the same time it kind of had some humor behind it as well. So while it's not strictly horror based, there is definitely a lot of gore in this game, but there is a really cool horror based DLC. It's zombie based, the Zombie Island of Dr. Ned, but it's also kind of entrenched in just a lot of monster lore. There's Frankensteins and werewolves, and it's got a lot of jack-o'-lanterns and stuff too, so it's almost got this Halloween feel to it as well. So I definitely recommend checking that out. If you get the remastered version that's available now, all the DLC comes included, so that's a big positive for this game. Now let's talk about some of the negatives. I said I really like the diversity in the main characters that you're able to play through, but the game in general doesn't have a lot of diversity as far as maybe some of the missions that you get or some of the landscapes. In fact, I feel like this game is really based off of kind of like a Mad Max type post-apocalyptic world where everything is based around these kind of crazy cars and these limited supplies and this desert world. And while that like works for like maybe the first half of the game where you're talking about, you know, really kind of going through and seeing how these gangs are surviving in this kind kind of wasteland. It all starts to look the same, and it gets kind of boring. Like I said, after about the second half, and the bosses that you kind of have to deal with become kind of bland in that way too. It just starts to feel a little repetitive. You go get this thing, you go get this thing, and after a while, you get tired of looking at these kind of like browns and grays and reds of this just kind of desert world that never really changes. So that's definitely a negative. Some of the missions definitely can get tedious. The main story is interesting, but in order to kind of level up your character to kind of continue on some of the story missions, you do have to do some tedious collecting missions or just chore-based missions. So, you know, that can get very tedious after a while. And also, I feel like this is something they fixed in some of the later entries, but the diversity in the guns as well. So one of the things that this game boasts about is just how many different guns you can get. And while that's true, and they have like a level-based system, it's like color-based, like whites or, you know, kind of basic guns, and it goes greens, blues, and purples, and up and up and up. So it is fun for looting, but just the overall look and feel of the different guns doesn't have enough diversity, I don't think. Like I said, in later entries, they start to add more interesting aspects to these special kind of guns that makes you want to acquire them. But in this Borderlands 1 entry, it feels like sometimes there's not a whole lot of difference to the guns, and even the really special ones don't have enough of like special ability to make them like, for me, enough to grind out to kind of seek them out and get them. Some, you know, other people might disagree with that, but I just after a while, you know, you can hang on to a certain gun for a while and you just kind of switch it out for another one, and I can't really tell much of a difference, honestly. So but those are most of the negatives, so let's go ahead and get into the final score.
Overall, I'm going to give this game a 4 out of 5. I highly recommend that you play through the co-op mode if you have that option available, and if you're looking to scratch that horror itch, definitely check out the horror-based DLC, The Zombie Island of Dr. Ned. If you're interested, I have a ton of Borderlands gameplay right here on our YouTube page, and if you're interested in more horror gameplay, definitely check us out on Twitch at twitch.tv/straightchillingpodcast. If you've played through this game, let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, until next time, everyone, please don't forget to keep chillin'.